Hello, welcome to this video. Today we'll be talking about my art phases in my journey from as a very beginner to still a beginner in 2020. So basically I started digital art in about 2017 and it's a very interesting arc that I went through as a child. So I've kind of split it all up into five phases, including the current one. So I'll just get into it. So the very first phase was what I call the Photoshop phase. So basically I had my laptop, I had Photoshop, and I had a mouse, and I drew some things. As you can tell, I can't have gone well as it was a mouse. I basically ended up doing only three art pieces on this. The very first one, which I can't yet find, but I might look for it later, I don't know. It was basically this character from a book I was writing at the time that I've currently not looked at since ages ago. But yeah, it was really weird. I remember I had so much trouble with the layers and the opacity, and I knew pretty much zero to nothing about digital art. I mean, I followed exactly one digital artist, which is what made me inspired to go and actually do digital art on Photoshop. But it was one artist, it was like an anime artist, and so I tried. Obviously it didn't work out that well. During this phase I didn't really look at references or bases or any of that. It was just me and my laptop and a lot of tears. The second one I did on Photoshop was a Harley Quinn, which I remember, yeah, it was very pixelated, but yeah. And I remember having really trouble shading because like I tried to like eye drop the actual image, and you know that doesn't really give accurate colours in terms of like art. So yeah, that didn't end well. I never finished it. And then my last try on the Photoshop phase was drawing one of my OCs, Lisa, which is a very prominent figure and I think will appear up in many other videos to come. But she basically was there and the lineup's all weird and it's all blurry and smudgy, and at this point I kind of sort of knew how to shade, because I remember complaining on my Instagram that I couldn't shade the Harley Quinn one, and one of my friends gave me the fabulous idea to do black and then like lower the opacity. So I did that for like the entirety of the next phase, sort of the next phase, you'll see. And then after that I just kind of didn't do Photoshop because I realised, oh, this kind of sucks because I can't do anything with the mouse. And then I was like, wait, I have an iPad and a finger. I mean, I'm sure there's a drawing program on there. So I hopped onto my iPad and that went into the beginner phase. I'm kidding. There's a phase in between that. It's called the forgotten phase, and it's called forgotten for a reason, and no one's going to know what that is. I'm lying. I'm probably going to make a video on it. It's a very weird phase, the forgotten phase, and yeah, let's just pretend it doesn't exist for now. It's kind of a very embarrassing story, but we'll just ignore it for now. Let's just say I just went straight to the beginner phase. So the beginner phase basically was the beginner phase. I'm not saying that I am no longer in the beginner phase, but this was the beginner phase, like the beginning of the beginnings. Basically I used OBS Paint, my finger, and no references. I don't know why I didn't use references, actually. Like, the thought never really crossed my mind, and as I said, I didn't follow that many artists then, and I didn't indulge myself into the artist community. This is all like foreshadowing the forgotten phase. Shh. Yeah, it was really weird, and because I didn't use references and I was a very, very big beginner, there was no anatomy at all, and it's kind of atrocious, but I'll skim through it. So the beginner phase. The beginner phase was really something of its creation. Basically, I began on OBS Paint, as I said, and honestly, this was just like a spin-off the Photoshop phase, because like the shading technique was the same. Obviously, the line structure was a bit better. I still had no idea what I was doing. As I said, I didn't look at references or anything like that, so I was just on my own. Like, seriously, you can tell by the anatomy and just everything that there is. I think the biggest way that I learned most of my art skills was watching speed paints to see how other artists did it, and just looking at other artists' photos and their posts, and that's honestly the way I learned, not looking really at tutorials. So I think the moment I started looking and following at other artists, I significantly progressed. But currently with this beginner phase I didn't, and especially the OBS Paint section of the beginner phase, it wasn't pleasant. but you can tell, and there's a lot of things at the end of the beginning of the feed of OBS Paint, which shows the latest drawings that you've worked on. You can see some of more stylized and detailed drawings on there, and that's because at one point after I got my surface, I went back to draw some pieces on there. Like one of them was a redraw that I just thought would be fun to do everything with the same stake, so like do it with my finger, do it on OBS Paint, and do a redraw like 3 years later, because it doesn't really show the best of my work anymore, and it's just, yeah, I've just moved on from that. But then we move on to the second part of the beginner phase, which is just me moving on to a different app called Medibang. I use this now still, but on Windows, not on iOS. So, I mean, I think at this point I started looking more at references and looking at other artists and started involving myself into the artist community, because all of my stuff significantly became better, it's English, became better and was, you know, a thing. I think I began looking at poses and references and other artists' work, because you can tell that everything's a lot better, more detailed, there's better shading and rendering skills, even though it's not amazing still, but it was still better than the beginning phase and that black opacity business. And I did some of that draw your squad thing type deal in there with some of my friends at some point. That was a bit of fun. Then I did some other things, like a lot of it's disguised, like you can see a lot of really bad anatomy, like there's a lot of just confusing things in there. It's weird, I was still testing everything out, so that's why it's still part of the beginner phase. But you know, I already began sort of seeing my style, even though I didn't quite see it then yet. Now I kind of see it, and I kind of moved on, or at least it's evolved into a more refined and eye-pleasing style, and this rigid type of style that is occurring. The Medibang section of the beginner phase was more of an explorative stage, and it was just a whole presentation, as you can see. Welcome to the current stage, is what I've called it. This is the stage where I did some art that wasn't horrible. This is when I got my surface, which is what I use now currently, this point of day. The art's a lot better. I've gained a lot more knowledge and that sort of thing. In terms of art, still a beginner, I think. It's just not the beginner phase, thank God. I use references as all artists do. Yeah, I'm just scroll to the very bottom. Fun fact, I actually had 2 Instagram accounts, my original one. And then I deleted it because it sucked, and then I started this one. So this is some old art, so you might recognize some of these. So we have this lovely dragon piece I did for a friend back in the day, 99 weeks. See, 2018 was the end of my beginner phase. So this is just painting that I did. So I can paint. We'll just leave it be. We got the redraw. See, this is when I first got on my surface. So like, I was just testing out with the very first art piece I did, featuring some very bad photos. Let me get up the actual copy of it. Yeah, this was the draft practice, as I called it. Yeah, I did something. I mean, it's so weird. The moment I came to this, I entered the current phase. All of a sudden I had all this knowledge. Maybe there was some secret bit in between that I have no idea that I had. It was from my fanfiction that I did, a fan art of my own fanfiction. It was great. Yeah, it was like maybe the third piece I did on this laptop. So it's current phase. You can see I've got... See, I didn't use any references for this, so I don't know what's going on. But it's not horrible. You know, it's not the beginner phase. Yeah, I was really proud of this one. This is for one of my favourite artists. Like, I tried to capture the anime style. Like, that's what I tried to capture in the beginner phase. I don't know if you can tell. And I managed to capture it. I was really proud of it back then, and I still am actually. It's one of the few anime art pieces I managed to do. This is the thing that I went back to OBS Paint. So this phase, right from this piece here to this piece here, I was away on like a 3 month trip overseas. So that's why it's all traditional, because I didn't actually have anything. We got some comics, we got this pea paint of a thing, got that TikTok girl from OBS Paint that I went back to draw for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, and we got some traditional. We're moving on, and this is, okay, these 3 sketches was the beginning of my dark background phase, and I realised I actually draw better. Like, not draw better, like sketch better. I don't know, just I can't stand the white background on a lot of art pieces. I don't know why. So that's why from then on it's just all dark. I like it. So yeah, so I was really proud of this, right? I did not use any references. Okay, this hand I used my own hand as a reference, but like, I don't think that counts, okay? Let me have a moment. Like, this hand I was so proud I didn't use a reference of, and it actually looks human. Like, the body, it was good. Good times. Can't say the same for this one, it's just some minor things. Oh, and this is the redraw of that other one, and I was so confused why I had it still on this account. The redraw, look at it. Very proud of it. This is when I started my comic. It was an animation. I started animation / animatics at this point. It was dying. It took too much time. This is the Rise of Skywalker and The Mandalorian came out. So I put a lot of Star Wars. This account entered a Star Wars phase. It still is actually in it. Try to get some anime stuff in here. I might redraw that actually because it's just not great currently. But this one I was actually really proud of. For a friend, not for a friend, for contest. Yeah, and this is like now 2019. Yeah, like, it's really weird because, let me look back. Okay, from about, so this stuff right here was what I call like the recent current phase, which means everything from here on is from my old thing, which is not a lot, which is like 3 years worth. It's not a lot, so I was like, what? So weird. Help, I didn't do any art back then. Yeah, so now it's very current. Like, at one point I posted like every single day for like 2 weeks. It was weird. So yeah, that's the current phase. I don't know what's going on, but we're doing something. I don't know what's going on, but something's occurring, and it's not the beginner phase, thank God. Yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching. This is a very interesting video, and you just got to have a little look into my past. You just got to ignore the forgotten phase. I am most likely going to make a video on that a bit later. Talking about the forgotten phase and trying to redeem myself. Maybe you've guessed it. Comment down below if you've guessed what it is. It's a very weird phase, and it's like not even, it's like a whole plot twist to it. Yeah. It's forgotten for a reason, guys. I literally forgot about this forgotten phase until like yesterday. As of recording this video, I forgot completely, and I looked at it and I was like, wait a second, and I like had 3 existential crises, and like, yeah, and then I'm gonna expose it all in a week or something. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, thanks for watching, and subscribe if you desire.